I've let my sister go thirsty through an entire meal. So, my sister has this absolutely ridiculous habit where she'll never actually ask for what she wants. Like, she'll just say stuff and expect everyone around her to read her mind and do it for her. If she wants the AC on, she won't just say, "Hey, can someone turn on the AC?" Nope, she'll sit there going, "Wow, it's so hot in here," or "Is anyone else sweating?" Over and over until someone finally caves and turns it on. And then if you ask her straight up if she wants the AC on, she'll be like, "Oh, no, I'm fine. But if you're hot, you should totally turn it on." It's exhausting. This whole thing blew up last weekend at my birthday dinner. We went to this Italian place downtown. Nothing fancy, but the food's good and they make strong drinks. The second we sit down, my sister starts eyeing the cocktail menu like it owes her money. She orders the strawberry thing when the waitress first comes around, drinks it pretty fast, and then just sits there staring at her empty glass. Then it starts, "Wow, that drink was really good." Silence. Like really refreshing. More silence. I bet their other cocktails are just as good. My mom's talking about work drama. My brother's on his phone and I'm just trying to enjoy my birthday pasta. But she keeps going. The mango one sounds amazing. I wonder if their margaritas are strong. It's so nice having drinks with dinner. The waitress comes back to check on us, asks if anyone needs anything. My dad orders another beer. My mom gets a refill on her wine. I get a second mojito because it's my birthday, and I'm an adult who can have 2 drinks if I want. The waitress looks right at my sister and goes, "Anything for you?" And my sister just smiles and says, "Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you though." I saw her jaw tighten when the waitress walked away. She got real quiet for like 5 minutes just pushing her chicken around her plate. Then she started up again. "Those drinks look so good. I'm kind of thirsty, actually." Birthday dinners are the best because everyone's having such a good time. At this point, I'm pretty sure she's doing this on purpose. So, I just focus on my food and let it go. It's my birthday. I'm not playing this game. We finish eating, head home, and I think it's over. Wrong. The second we're in the door, she goes off. "That was actually so rude of you guys." My brother looks up from his phone like, "What?" And she just launches into this whole thing about how we all got drinks, and nobody ordered one for her. How we let her sit there thirsty the whole meal. How inconsiderate we all are. My brother actually laughs. "Dude, the waitress literally asked you and you said no." She gets even more mad at that. She goes, "That's not the point. You should have known I wanted another drink because everyone else was getting one. I'm standing there with my shoes half off." Like, "But you said you didn't want one." And she hits us with, "I only said that because my family should have already taken care of me without me having to ask." Taken care of her. Like she's 5 years old and can't order her own cocktail. My mom tries to calm things down, but my sister's not having it. She tells us that from now on we need to just order drinks for her when we order ours, because apparently that's what families do. My brother asks her why she can't just say yes when the waitress asks, and she says it's the principle of it that we should know her well enough to know what she wants. I finally just said, "I'm not a mind-readator, and it was my birthday. I wasn't thinking about your drink situation." She called me selfish. Said I was making everything about myself on my literal birthday dinner. The audacity. We've been going back and forth about this for days now. She's texting the family group chat about how hurt she is. So now the group chat is basically a war zone. Every few hours she drops another message about how families are supposed to look out for each other, and how she would never let any of us go without something we wanted. She keeps saying it wasn't about the drink, it was about feeling ignored, which would almost make sense if she hadn't literally declined the drink when asked. My mom is trying to play Switzerland, replying with stuff like "Let's all calm down and we should talk about this in person," which only seems to fuel my sister more because she takes that as validation. She starts digging up old examples, like the time 3 years ago when we ordered pizza and she didn't like the toppings we chose, or when we went on vacation and nobody reminded her to pack sunscreen. Apparently, in her version of reality, all of those are examples of us not taking care of her. My brother finally snaps and sends a voice message saying he's done enabling this nonsense, and that she's an adult who can use her words. That goes about as well as you'd expect. She accuses him of being insensitive, and says this is why she doesn't feel emotionally safe asking for things, which is ironic because she refuses to actually ask for things. Then she brings me back into it and says she's especially hurt that I didn't step in, because I'm the oldest and it was my birthday, so apparently I had some kind of host responsibility to monitor her hydration levels. At this point, I'm just exhausted. I reply one last time and say that I love her, but I'm not going to apologize for not reading her mind, and if she wants something in the future, she needs to actually say it out loud. I tell her I'm not ordering things for her unless she asks, because every time we guess wrong, she also gets mad. That message sits there unread for hours, which I know is intentional. Later that night, my mom calls me and admits that this has been an issue for years, even with extended family, and that she thinks my sister learned somewhere along the way that indirectness equals politeness, even though it clearly doesn't work. She asks if I can just be the bigger person and apologize to keep the peace. I tell her I'll apologize for hurting her feelings, but not for the drink thing itself. The next day, my sister finally replies in the chat with a long paragraph about how she feels invisible in the family and how everyone gangs up on her. I respond privately this time and tell her she isn't invisible, but she makes it impossible to help her when she refuses to communicate directly. I even point out that the waitress did exactly what she wanted us to do. She asked clearly, and my sister shut it down. She doesn't respond to that, but later I hear from my mom that she's been complaining that I'm changing and setting boundaries like a stranger. Honestly, that kind of confirms I'm doing the right thing. Since then, I decided that I'm done playing along. If she sighs and hints and makes comments, I'm not jumping in anymore. If she wants water, a drink, the AC on, or literally anything else, she can ask like everyone else at the table. And if that makes me the bad guy in her story, I can live with that. It was my birthday dinner, I enjoyed my pasta, and I'm not responsible for managing another adult's unspoken expectations ever again. Story to my twin brother died in a hiking accident. At his funeral, I received a text. I'm not dead. That's not me in the casket. It came from his phone. Where are you? I typed back. Can't say. They're listening. Don't trust your wife and our parents. The shocking truth I uncovered afterward left me shocked. Chapter 1. The casket isn't mine. The funeral was quiet. Too quiet for someone like Aaron, my twin brother. He was loud, full of life. The kind of guy who could make a funeral feel like a party just by showing up late, with a crooked smile. But now he was the one in the casket. Or so I thought. Rain tapped softly on the tent over the gravesite. I stood there, numb in my black suit, watching the priest read a passage I couldn't hear. My wife, Elena, stood beside me, her hand tightly wrapped around mine. But I wasn't sure if it was comfort or control. Our parents were 2 rows ahead, stiff and hollow. Not a single tear shed between them, just long, composed faces. Like they were at a business meeting. The whole thing felt off. Then, just as the casket began to lower, my phone buzzed in my coat pocket. I shouldn't have checked it, but something compelled me to. It was a text from Aaron's number. I'm not dead. That's not me in the casket. My blood ran cold. I looked up, half expecting to see someone watching from the trees, but there was no one. Just the whisper of wind through wet leaves. My fingers trembled as I typed back. Aaron, where are you? A long pause. Then another message blinked onto the screen. Can't say they're listening. Don't trust your wife and our parents. I stared at the message. 1,000 thoughts crashed through me at once. Aaron was alive. Why would he fake his death? Why warn me about Elena and our parents? That night, I couldn't sleep. Elena tried to hold me, but I feigned exhaustion. Her arms felt colder than the rain at the funeral, and in my gut, a terrible truth began to take root. Whoever was in that casket, it wasn't my brother, and the people I thought I could trust most may have had everything to do with it. Chapter 2. I dug into my brother's last trip and found a hidden phone they never knew about. The morning after the funeral, I drove to Aaron's apartment. He lived alone for the last 3 years in a modest 1-bedroom above a hardware store. Messy, scattered, alive with that kind of organized chaos only twins could decipher. But now it was cleared out, sanitized to clean. There were no personal photos on the wall, no toothbrush in the bathroom. Even the fridge had been emptied except for a single bottle of water and a lone jar of pickles. Aaron hated pickles. It didn't feel like someone died. It felt like someone erased him. I had only one key. But Aaron was paranoid. Had been ever since a bad fallout with a former employer 2 years ago. That's when he started saying things like, always keep a second trail, and never let them see your first layer. I checked the usual places under the bed, inside the vent cover, behind the closet paneling. Then I remembered the trick we used as kids. The fake electrical socket in the corner behind his dresser. Sure enough, when I pried it open, dust spilled out along with a black burner phone wrapped in a plastic bag and duct tape. It still had charge. I unlocked it with his childhood password, BLASTOFF92. There were only 3 contacts in it. J, Doc, Red Fox, and 1 saved video file. I played it. The footage was grainy. Filmed in the woods, probably a GoPro. Aaron appeared on screen, clearly winded, looking over his shoulder. If you're seeing this, I either escaped or I didn't make it. But if there's a funeral and a body, that's not me. That's a setup. The people behind it, they're close. Closer than you think. I found something I wasn't supposed to. And now they're trying to shut it all down. Start with Elena, and if you're brave enough, ask Dad about Coldridge. Whatever you do, don't trust anyone, especially not Mom. The screen went black. I just stood there, phone frozen in my hand. Mom, Elena, Dad, they were all at the funeral, mourning, smiling, talking about closure. And my brother had just told me one of them may have helped fake his death or worse. I sat down hard on his mattress. 1,000 questions bloomed in my mind, but one echoed louder than the rest. What the hell happened on that hiking trip? And why did Aaron think our entire family wasn't on it? Chapter 3. I confronted my father about Coldridge, and what he said made my blood run cold. I waited until Sunday to confront him. Dad always grilled on Sundays like clockwork. Even after Aaron's funeral, there he was on the patio, beer in one hand, tongs in the other, flipping burgers like nothing had happened, like we hadn't just buried someone we both loved. You hungry? He asked without looking at me. No, I said flatly. He didn't push, just nodded, focused on the grill. That was Dad in a nutshell. Stoic, emotionally bulletproof. You could punch him in the face with grief and he'd barely flinch. I sat across from him. No small talk. Then I asked, what happened to Coldridge? The way his hand froze mid-flip told me everything. He set the tongs down carefully, then turned and looked me dead in the eye. Where'd you hear that name? Aaron, he said not to trust anyone. Said to start with you. Said it all connects back there. He didn't speak for a long time. Just stared into the grill like it could swallow him whole. Then he said, Coldridge was a research facility. Military adjacent, funded privately, operated under contract. Your brother and I were part of a pilot program long before you knew anything about it. A program for what? His eyes flicked toward the sliding glass door where Mom stood watching us. For enhancement, he said quietly. Cognitive and physical augmentation, memory trials, accelerated neuroplasticity. The kind of stuff that doesn't officially exist, your brother. He was one of the only successful test cases. I blinked. Wait, what? Are you saying Aaron was experimented on? He volunteered and it worked. But after the program went dark, some of the others, they wanted to use him. They called it asset retention. He called it being hunted. Jesus, look, Dad said, lowering his voice. He disappeared for a reason. Faking his death may have been the only way out. But if he contacted you, that means someone made a mistake. And if you dig further, they'll come for you, too. I stared at him. So, what do I do? You disappear, too? He said flatly. Burn that phone. Wipe your records. Get a new name. Or he looked up, eyes colder than I'd ever seen them. You finish what he started. I left without saying another word. That night, I didn't sleep. I just replayed Aaron's video over and over. His words haunted me. Asked Dad about Coldridge. He didn't want me to hide. He wanted me to uncover the truth. So, I made a choice. I wasn't running. I was going to follow the trail. But first, I had to see Elena. Chapter 4. I tracked down my brother's ex and she wasn't surprised. He was alive. Elena lived 2 towns over in a quiet, woodsy neighborhood filled with single-story homes and friendly retirees walking their dogs. Not exactly the place you'd expect to find someone tied up in a conspiracy involving military research and fake deaths. I'd only met her twice during their 2-year relationship. She was calm, soft-spoken, sharp. Aaron had described her once as the smartest person in any room, even when she pretends not to be. I rang her doorbell at 8:14 p.m. The door opened a crack. Her eyes widened the moment she saw me. You look like him, she whispered. Not him, I said quickly. It's me, Nate? She hesitated, then unlocked the chain and let me in. The house smelled like cinnamon and books. There were open journals everywhere, half-filled pages and sticky notes on the walls. I didn't know whether she was writing a novel or solving a murder. She didn't offer coffee, didn't sit. She just looked me dead in the eyes and said, Aaron's alive. Isn't he? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I knew it. She whispered more to herself than to me. I told him he'd never be able to stay dead. Elena, I need you to tell me what you know about Coldridge, about the program, about why he ran. She exhaled slowly, then walked to a locked drawer in her kitchen and retrieved a file. It was thick, water-stained, labeled Echo Unsanctioned Trials. She handed it to me. I wasn't just his girlfriend, she said. I was his handler. I was assigned to monitor his progress. At first it was scientific, clinical, but over time I started seeing what it was doing to him. The migraines, the blackouts, the nightmares. Aaron was their success story. But they broke something inside him to make it work. I flipped through the file. Names, dates, dosage charts, logs of emotional volatility, photos of Aaron strapped to a table. My stomach turned. He got out, she continued, voice shaking. But he didn't run away. He ran with something, a drive. It contained everything. Data, video logs, audio files, full blueprints. If the public saw it, Coleridge would be done. So would everyone involved? Your parents included. That hit like a punch. My parents? She nodded slowly. Your mother wasn't just a nurse. She was one of the clinical leads. Your father logistics and acquisition. They kept it quiet. But Aaron found out. That's why he warned you not to trust them. I sat down hard on the couch. The floor felt like it was tilting beneath me. Where is he now? I asked. Elena hesitated, then pulled out a second phone, tapped a few buttons, and showed me a map. A red pin blinked on a forested area far from town. I haven't spoken to him in months. But if he's reaching out again, it means he needs help. And if you go after him, Nate, she looked at me grimly, you better be ready to make a choice. Because once you cross into that world, there's no coming back. Chapter 5. I entered the forest where Aaron was hiding. But I wasn't the only one tracking him. The road ended 2 miles before the pin on Elena's map. From there, it was dense forest. No trails, no signs, just wilderness and shadows. I parked behind a rustic gate, slung my backpack over one shoulder, and began hiking. My boots crunched over dry leaves and brittle pine needles, every step echoing louder than I wanted. The deeper I went, the quieter the world became. No birds, no wind. Just the weight of what I was walking toward. After an hour, I found it. A small shack, half covered in moss and brush, sat tucked into a clearing. It looked abandoned, weather-worn, crooked. But I knew better. I approached slowly. My breath held tight in my lungs. Aaron, I called. Nothing. Aaron, it's Nate. I know you're alive. I got your message. I talked to Elena. Still silence. Then creak. The door opened a sliver and there he was. Thinner, hardened, beard untrimmed. Eyes sharp and haunted. But undeniably my brother. He didn't speak right away, just stared like trying to decide whether I was real. Finally, you shouldn't have come. I stepped forward. They lied. Aaron, about everything. Elena told me the program, our parents. I saw the files. He nodded slowly. Then you know why I had to disappear. Why now? I asked. Why send that message? Why reach out? He opened the door fully, revealing a battered metal lockbox sitting on a table behind him. I've been collecting everything. Proof, data and names. I was waiting until I had enough to bring it all down. But something changed. What? They found me. My heart stopped. What do you mean? Suddenly, a crack echoed in the distance. A twig snapped. Another. Aaron grabbed my arm and yanked me inside. They followed you, he whispered. They were watching. You led them here. Outside, movement. Dark shapes between trees. No footsteps, just silence and shifting shadows. Aaron pulled open a floorboard and handed me a worn pistol. We have two options, he said, calm but focused. Go out the back and run, or stay and fight. Either way, they won't let us both live. Before I could answer, a voice rang out from the woods. Aaron Cross, Nathan Cross. We don't want to hurt you. Just come out with the drive. My blood went cold. They knew my name. They were never after just Aaron. They wanted both of us. Chapter 6. The Forest Ambush. And the truth our parents were willing to kill to keep hidden. The silence was deadly. The voice that had called out, calm, almost friendly, only made it worse. Aaron shoved the flash drive into my jacket pocket. If I don't make it out, you keep that safe. It has everything, all of it. Another voice barked from outside. Last warning. You have 60 seconds. I looked at Aaron. How many are there? 3, maybe 4. One of them used to be our father's personal security ex-special forces. And we're going to outrun them. Aaron smirked. We don't have to outrun them. We just have to surprise them. He kicked open the back door. Gunfire erupted instantly. To silenced pop splitting the air as bullets chewed through the wooden frame. Where I had been standing just seconds ago, we sprinted into the trees, ducking low, zigzagging through brush and mud. Behind us, boots thundered. Aaron motioned to the left. There's an old ranger tower. If we can get to it, we'll have height. I followed, panting, adrenaline surging through my limbs. Branches whipped my face, blood pounding in my ears. Then I saw it. An ancient steel tower, rusted but standing, its ladder barely clinging to the frame we climbed. Midway up, I heard the hiss of a voice behind us. You think hiding in a tower changes anything, Aaron? You think your brother's ready to know the truth? We didn't stop. At the top, Aaron pulled out a signal booster from a hidden compartment in the backpack. He clipped the flash drive in and hit a button. What are you doing? I asked, breathless. Uploading the files to cloud storage, encrypted and mirrored. Once this finishes, it'll be everywhere. And what's in the files? He looked at me, eyes dark, jaw clenched. You remember the scholarship Dad said I won in high school? Yeah. It wasn't real. It was a recruitment that our parents volunteered us for a military behavioral program when we were kids. Not just you and me. Dozens, maybe hundreds of twins. I blinked. What? They used us as case studies. How far loyalty could be weaponized. What bonds break first? Blood, love, or truth? I found footage, Nate, experiments, psychological manipulation, blackmail. Some of them. Some didn't survive. My knees weakened. Our childhood, the missing months, the strange boarding school trip Aaron took. They'd been testing us, using us. And our parents. They weren't victims. They were architects. Bang, the tower jolted. A bullet ricocheted off a metal beam. They're climbing. I shouted. Aaron tossed me a second pistol. Time to earn that GED in survival. We held them off for another minute, maybe less. But it was enough. The upload hit 100%. Aaron smiled. Too late, he muttered, we see it. A voice cursed from below. He got the drive up. A new silence followed, then retreating footsteps. No more bullets. No more chase, they were pulling back. And not because they were scared, because the war had just gone public. Chapter 7, Funeral Part 2, where the dead finally speak and the living begin to fall. By the time we climbed down from the tower, the forest had gone eerily quiet. Aaron moved like a soldier now. No more hesitation, no more smirks. Just focus. They won't come after us here. Not tonight, he said. They'll wait to see what leaks. And it did leak. By the next morning, the files were everywhere. An anonymous account on X, formerly Twitter, Reddit, Telegram. A massive thread dropped across every platform simultaneously, with the heading Project Echo Twin. A classified government-sanctioned behavioral experiment involving children. Names, videos, funding, everything. There were hundreds of files. Redacted documents, yes, but some names still slipped through. And among them our parents and my wife. She had worked as a contracted psych evaluator for years under a shell company. Linked directly to Project Echo. She'd been assigned to monitor me. Report changes, manipulate key emotional triggers. She was never just my wife. She was my handler. My phone rang. It was her. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. Nate, please listen. I can explain. I had no choice. They had something on my father. He was sick. God, Nate, please just call me back. Her voice cracked, but I didn't call back. I was too busy watching the media explosion unfold. CNN, Fox, independent whistleblower journalists. Even WikiLeaks. Senators demanded inquiries. Government officials scrambled to deny. But the evidence was too solid. And in the middle of it all, two names were trending. Aaron and Nathan Cole. We were no longer ghosts in the shadows. We were proof. 3 days later, the confrontation. I stood outside my childhood home for the first time in a decade. The same white porch, the same rusted mailbox. But nothing about it felt like home anymore. Aaron stayed back. This is your call, he said. But be ready. They'll say anything to keep control. I rang the bell. My mother answered. For a moment, her smile twitched, old instincts kicking in. Then she saw my eyes. You saw it all, she whispered. Yes, I said. Everything. My father appeared behind her. We did what we had to. You were chosen, Nathan. You should be grateful. Grateful, I spat. You fed your sons into a psychological meat grinder. You killed one of us. At least you tried. Aaron stepped into view. My mother gasped. My father stepped back. You faked a body, Aaron said coldly. You forged death certificates. You told the world I was gone. You were unstable. Our mother cried. You threatened the entire program. No, I interrupted. He threatened your position, your legacy, your illusion of control. For a moment, none of us spoke. Then my father said, so what now? You expose us? Drag your own family through the dirt? No, I said calmly. We already did. You just don't know how far the roots go. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a court summons. Federal subpoena. You'll be testifying. His face LD. My mother collapsed into a chair. Aaron and I turned and walked away together. This time, Chapter 8, Ghosts in the Mirror. The day we became real again. 6 months later, everything had changed. Aaron and I sat quietly in a small green room backstage at a primetime interview set. One of the few we agreed to do. The world knew our names now, but they still didn't know us. You ready for this? I asked, tugging at the collar of my suit. Aaron looked into the mirror. I died once, he said softly. This is just resurrection. The camera light blinked. A stage hand counted us in. 3 to 1 and then we were live. The interviewer's voice was calm but pointed. Nathan, Aaron, what you've revealed. Government experimentation, psychological manipulation, human rights violations. It's staggering, but people still ask why come forward? Why now? Aaron leaned forward. Because the truth doesn't stay buried forever. You can fake a death, manipulate a mind, erase a history, but not the truth, not forever, I nodded. And because too many people are still trapped in silence. Our story is just one thread in a much larger web. People need to know what's been done in the name of research. We told our story piece by piece. The childhood tests, the staged accident, the fake funeral, the betrayal by our wife and parents, and finally the unraveling of everything they built. Aftermath. Project Echo was shut down. Several top officials resigned or were indicted. Our parents pleaded guilty in federal court, stripped of all credentials, sentenced to prison under plea deals that spared the maximum time, but not public disgrace. My wife filed for divorce. I didn't contest it. She vanished from public life, her career destroyed by the fallout. Last I heard, she changed her name and moved across the country. As for Madison, my daughter, I sent her a single letter. I told her the truth, everything. Her reply was 3 lines. I don't know what's real anymore, but I believe you. I just wish I had sooner. 1 year later, Aaron lives in the mountains now in a quiet cabin far away from surveillance and noise. He doesn't do interviews anymore, but we talk weekly. Real conversations, no secrets between us now. I started a foundation, one that helps whistleblowers, deprogramming victims, and those discarded by systems like the one we were caught in. Sometimes I walk past a mirror and almost don't recognize the man looking back. But then I remember that man survived. He didn't just crawl out of the grave they shoved him into. He built something better on top of it, not for revenge but for truth. And truth, it always finds a way back from the dead. Was this revenge perfectly justified?